we're now going to start talking about methods for collecting a sample and the different types of samples we can get. So in section 1.3, we're only going to be talking about simple random sampling. So a random sample is where we use chance to select individuals from the population to include in our sample. Now, a simple random sample, which we abbreviate SRS, is a random sample selected in such a way that every possible sample of size n, and we can make n be whatever we want it to be, has an equal chance of being selected. So that sounds complicated, I know. Every possible sample size of size n has an equal chance of being selected. So I'm going to go up to the top of the page here, and I'm just going to do an example. So say I have 5 markers. I have 2 blue ones, 2 red ones, and a black one. And say I want my sample size to be 2. So for me to make a simple random sample, the probability of me selecting, say, 2 blues or 2 reds or a blue and a red or a blue and a black or a red and a black or any possible combination of 2 of those markers has to be the same. So the way we can do that is by drawing names out of a hat. So any process that is equivalent to drawing names out of a hat will get us a simple random sample. We can use technology to do that, and what we're using in that instance is a program that we call a random number generator. So we're going to go over how to do this on our calculators while we do an example problem. So let me pull up the calculator. So the first thing we want to do, and I'm going to be using these instructions over here because I think that is the type of calculator most of you have from if you got one from the library. So what we're going to do is start by entering any non-zero number. So I'm just going to use my phone number. You can use your phone number. You can make up a 7-digit number. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to put 3232377. Then I'm going to hit the store key, which is just to the left of the number 1 button. It says STO and has an arrow. So if I hit that, you see it put a little arrow on the screen. And then it says press the math button. So I'll press the math button. Remember, it's about 5 keys up from the STO key. I am going to arrow over to probability. So using the arrow keys in the top right, arrow over to the PRB, which is probability. And the first one, which is RAND, is already highlighted. So just hit enter. And after it puts the RAND on the home screen, hit enter again. And you should just see your number displayed back at you. Now, the instructions say press math again and highlight the PRB menu and select number 5. We're going to select number 8. And the reason we're going to select number 8, if I hit the math key again and go over to the probability PRB menu, and if you see right here by number 7, instead of a colon, there's a down arrow. That means we can get more options if we arrow down. So I will arrow down. You see number 8 says RAND int no it's no RAP. So that means it's going to give me random numbers without repeating any of the numbers. So if we want to repeat, then we would choose number 5. But since I don't want us to repeat, we'll use number 8. So let's go scroll down some here. And we are going to use a list of states from alphabetical order, and we're going to get a simple random sample from those. So now that you've typed your number in, and we are down to the 6th step. Remember, we're going to choose number 8. We hit enter. So the first number we give it is the smallest number we have. So I started by labeling Alabama number 1. Then we put a comma. The comma is directly above the 7. And then we put our largest number, which is 50. So this is going to give us a list of 50 numbers randomly, so they might all be out of order. We might get 49, then 2, then 37, then 21, who knows? So once we do that, you'll want to remember to close your parentheses. The closed parenthesis is above the 9, and then just hit enter. So you see I have this string of numbers and I have an arrow on the right, which means if I keep arrowing over, it will show me all 50 numbers selected in random order without repeating any of the numbers. So we're going to write our random sample below. So we're just going to take the first 5 numbers out of here. And remember, yours might be different. So in my case, number 50 was my first one. So 50 corresponds to Wyoming. And then I had 1, which I believe is Alabama. I'm going to write these down over here so we can stop. So 51. My third number, okay, 41, 2, and 10. So I have 41, 2, and 10. So now I'm just going to write the corresponding states down. So I had Wyoming first. I had Alabama second. I had South Dakota third. Alaska is fourth. And number 10 corresponds to Georgia. So there is my 5-state sample. Now, you won't be able to compare yours to several other people's probably, but you could do this more than once and start by seeding a different number every time. So steps 1 through 5. And are they the same? Well, they could be, but probably not. Why is that? Well, we shouldn't expect them to be the same. And that's because of the variability in randomly selecting states to include in our sample. And just an FYI for your information here, out of the 50 states, there are 2,118,760 different samples that we could make. So now you see why it's not very likely that we will all come up with the same. Although if you start with the same seed number, which is the seed number I used, remember, was my phone number, it is possible that you would get exactly what I got. And that's just because a random number generator is pretty good, but it's not truly random because obviously somebody had to program it and it's got a set of rules. Anyway, that's enough about simple random samples. In section 1.4 and the next video, we'll talk about other methods of sampling.